Welcome in. It's good to be back on terra firma, the worldwide palatial headquarters where there's actually power and AC Electric gets beyond a failing grade. Give me a break. I know it's easy for me to say power outages and all that. What was it, about 33 or more hours? Something. I don't even,
Ridiculous.
it may have been over 40 before people were fully restored. My God. Hard to believe. By the way, Dan, tell where people can find us right now.
Yeah, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. As always, this first hour of the show is live on YouTube. Please do us a favor, like and subscribe. We could really use you over there, and we love the discussion. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT.
And I'm not wearing my Mulligan shirt from the front because I think there's more interesting stuff on the back.
Keep holding that there. I got to remove a banner real quick so they can see
Oh,
it.
yeah. Get that banner out of the way. Who cares
There it
about
is.
that?
There it is, the
There you
banner.
go. The great Mulligans, you got to patronize them. What a crowd whiling away the time during the outage with us right up until the very end.
What an awesome environment. They were hanging out there. It was
exactly.
It was not chill. Like the air conditioning was out. We had to open up the windows.
It was pretty, yeah.
No lights.
Lights. So that meant our ace engineer, Tommy McDonald, had like a miner's hat on.
Miner's hat, yeah.
Yeah, going around so that he could see things with the light, hooked it up to his car battery.
His Chevy.
Yeah, it was stunning stuff. So thanks. And we introduced to the official glassware of the Dom Giordano program. Get your Mulligan's glassware. Ask for it when you go into Mulligan's there while supplies last. I don't know how much they have, but what a great spot. And it illustrates the holy trinity of talk radio, which is the host, the listeners, and the advertisers all coming together. That's what they don't get about talk radio. Don't even get a little bit. We'll give you more details throughout the show, but it was fabulous stuff. Dan, and particularly Tommy McDonald, who was a producer that could do battlefield conditions literally and hook you up. How's that sound? Can you be heard? The mortar just went off over here.
It's magic.
It
was magic what the guy was doing. Like I know some like audio technical stuff. I have no idea how that guy pulled off what he pulled off. I swear there was Harry Potter in the back room over there doing some spells or something.
Well, in one moment we were on the normal, stuff that we do. Then we were on the phone. Then we were on battery, and then we were on a car battery. So Wildwood, not good how long it took them to get power and to get back. But we got a lot of stuff built up today that we'll get to. Bruce Castor, big-time attorney. You may remember he was a DA out of Montgomery County. He defended President Trump against the second impeachment. He's with us today because he has a 13-year-old victim of that maniac who shot up Southwest Philadelphia. And I happen to see this in where I write, Delaware Valley Journal, and talking about what about this transition stuff? Who is it that talked to this guy about this? Was he doing anything, mental health, as he transitions, if he is trans? And you remember last week, the media didn't want any of that angle. They had to fall back on guns, and they got tired of it and moved on. They don't want to talk about that angle. Now, this is a civil suit, and Castor will lay out how he's proceeding with it. I find it fascinating, and I can hardly wait to hear the testimony. And you won't be hearing about it in the Philadelphia Inquirer. We'll have to get it directly from Bruce Castor. Okay, phone lines to get in are 855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all that you need to do is just push pound 1210. This will be cut 18. So we're seeing now, and I have a lot of evidence of this, what they're going to do to try to prop up Biden. I still think they think Biden is the options. Others are saying they're setting the plank for him to walk. I don't see it. He ain't going to do it. And Dr. Jill Biden's not going to do it. We have about as much chance of Biden dropping out as we do these creep Bidens, including Dr. Jill Biden, educator. I wonder what she'd say if asked about that directly. Just one person in the interview. Why did you dedicate your kids' book to your 6 grandkids when there are 7? Why do they continue to do this? We know why they do it. They believe politically they can deny it and have people attack you if you bring it up. Maureen Dowd, the premier liberal writer for the New York Times, went after them on the Sunday edition of the New York Times. How can you deny a grandchild? Wasn't family the focal point of what the Biden administration was supposed to be about? Take a look at this family. Also today, look, I want him to fail. I'll admit it. Yeah, you're not allowed to say that. Yeah, so that we have a chance at some degree of sanity. But what are his handlers thinking, having him walk a couple hundred yards with Prince Charles today, Bonnie Prince Charles, where they have to stop occasionally, get a signal, it's time to move on, salute or don't salute? It looks god-awful. A, the shuffling, and then B, he doesn't know where he is. And Bonnie Prince Charles has to keep tapping him and telling him, move on here now, move on. Yeah. Seeing it at whichever palace that was, I don't know if it was Buckingham or not. It doesn't matter. All that royal stuff is silliness. But seeing Biden not able to navigate that is just plainly, I'm not going to say it's even painful anymore, because I have no quarter for the Bidens. This is what they want to do. They want to continue this nonsense. Okay, well, then we have to report what we see in front of us, and it's brutal. But here's the strategy. Morning Joe dusted off Chris Matthews today. Now, if you remember a guy named Dick Vitale, I don't know how much Vitale might do a few regular season games. He's a diaper dandy. You know,
it's a big game, baby.
Yeah, that kind of baby, every other word, and diaper dandies and all that.
Diaper dandy.
Everybody in the world is the second coming of LeBron James or Wilt Chamberlain. So Chris Matthews today on Morning Joe gushes so much over Biden. It's like Dick Vitale. Here's the strategy. And then they had John Meacham on, the alleged historian who whispers in Biden's ear. They're just going to say, this is wonderful what Biden has done and is doing. And they're going to say the American public doesn't get it because there's so many toxic elements out there. They won't let the public see how good it is. So listen to Chris Matthews get wound up today telling us, go, Joe, go.
You know, you and me could put everything on the table this morning, starting at 6 o'clock. I got to tell you, it's all on the table now. Tom Friedman, I guess a couple of months ago, said that Joe Biden has united NATO as never before. His problem is uniting United States. That is the challenge. I noticed that Richard Haas said the other day, in leaving the office, leaving his post at the Council of Foreign Relations, he said that the biggest challenge in the world today is us. It's so interesting how this whole thing is polarized now, that we're doing a great job in world leadership, probably at the level of FDR or Eisenhower. We're holding the world together. We're building NATO as it was built to be when it was first formed, to stop Russia, to stop Russia's advancement into Western Europe. And look where we've stopped them, at Ukraine. That's where we stopped them, and in the Balkans. It's extraordinary what Blinken has done and Jake Sullivan have done and what the president has done. All together, they're doing a great job. But here at home, and you talked about that earlier this morning, this distinction where people cannot say what you said in your article for The Atlantic. They can't breathe it. They can't believe it, which is everything is doing pretty well. We have inflation. It's continued, but it's going down.
Minor thing.
Everything is going swimmingly. And we can't say so. Because on the left, if you say something like that, you're not scared enough of Trump, which you should be. And on the right, it's you don't hate Washington and liberals and the establishment as much as you're supposed to. So there's something wrong with you. It's so disjointed now about common sense thinking.
Well, I just wanted to, if Jimmy Matthews is listening, President Trump, President Trump, President Trump. Notice he dusted off even Chris Matthews in the middle of this swimmingly. Things are going swimmingly. Ignore that over there. Ignore that man over there. It's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, a little bit more to say, Tom.
Okay?
I don't think it helps the opposition to be tied to America.
People laugh at me when my romance shows, having frills up my leg and things like that, which I honestly actually had. Because when people talk about my country, including the president, it works for me. I am thrilled, Pat, that maybe.
No, you can't come back on the show, Dan. The last time he just started blurting out profanities, not at me, but just in general. He's a maniac. He's always he's lost his mind even more. It's going swimmingly. Didn't you know that out there? What are you griping about? Chris Matthews says it's going swimmingly. Now listen to John Meacham. Now this is the principal guy who gets together all these historians and others. Every other month, they whisper in Biden's ear about go big, Joe, spend more, you're FDR. And that's one of the motivators that Biden has. He says we should worry about fascism at home because people are not recognizing how great Biden is doing.
On the right, you need to think that the world is ending and that President Biden bizarrely is leading this these end times. And on the left, you have to be perpetually on edge about fascism at home. And there's a hugely legitimate reason to worry about fascism at home, because the only threat, the main threat to the world, the American state that you just described, is internal.
Trump.
Right?
There
we will gnaw on ourselves. Mm-hmm. We will let appetite and ambition overcome a kind of constitutional order where we're not perfect, but we're trying to get a little more perfect.
All right, well, let's stop him there. John Meacham, now a historian, very stunned. I'd rather Chris Matthews tell us everything's going swimmingly. At least there was some juice there with that. But you know what they're doing? They're talking about how is it people are not seeing how well Biden has done? Really? What are the metrics of that people should be looking at? Well, inflation's more minor. By the way, they mentioned Ukraine in there. Alex Soros now has taken over for George Soros. Alex Soros has had 20 meetings at Biden's White House, according to the latest White House visitor logs recently. And the people he's meeting with are people like National Security Senior Director for Europe, Amanda Sloat, Principal Deputy National Security Advisor, John Feiner. John Feiner again. There's 20 of these in here. And all these people are mainly national security. Guess what Alex Soros is so intent upon? Ukraine. Wanting Ukraine to win, wanting us to give more to Ukraine. Does it ever end with this country? Really? Now Joe Biden is giving them cluster bombs. Over 100 nations are signatories to saying no to cluster bombs. Civilian populations, ordinary reasons. The argument on the other side, on the left today is, well, the Russians already have cluster bombs. This is how we keep on getting drawn in with Ukraine, this nonsense. Over and over and over again. Here, the Soroses, no surprise. That seems to be their focus now, Ukraine, and continuing to push this. Mike Pence doesn't get it. Mike Pence out there today, of course, said that, yeah, I'm in favor of giving Ukraine cluster bombs. Christie is on that side. They're about the only two among the Republicans that are seemingly on that side. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Coming up, Dan saw this, and I had seen it earlier this morning, but Greg, no, you saw it last. No, well, we both saw it.
Yes.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Media matters. Still more coverage. A new thing to complain about with the Moms for Liberty. Something else you will not believe they did not like about these moms and their time here in Philadelphia. And I think Media Matters was inside the Marriott covering it. They did not. I wish I knew Media Matters were there. I'd have to get inside the Marriott. My tactic is always to do a all-out interview on them when they're doing an all-out interview attacking someone else. I'll give you what it is they did not like about the Moms for Liberty. Side question today, though. It's the annual 1-year anniversary, sadly, of the passing of Paulie Walnuts. I saw Tony Sirica at a Frankie Valli concert, and just looking at this guy's fist, they looked every bit as much of some of the things that Paulie Walnuts did in The Sopranos. Just a great supporting character. Here's what we're looking for today on the, I think it was yesterday, 1-year anniversary of his passing. We are looking for that all-time supporting character, not actors. Don't say, oh, this is supporting act. Gene Hackman, I think, is both a leading but a supporting actor. He's the best ever, arguably. But we're looking for a character like Paulie Walnuts. There you go. All right. I'm going to take off the board. So good that arguably his series was right up there with Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul, Saul Goodman. Just an unbelievable character. When he came into Breaking Bad, things started to happen in ways that were just unimaginable.
So you're talking about in Breaking Bad, his character,
yes,
the supporting character,
Saul
Saul
Goodman.
Goodman. Yeah.
Yeah, Saul Goodman.
It's a fantastic answer. I'm going to take everyone off of Seinfeld, from Seinfeld.
Okay.
All great answers. I mean, Kramer is, Elaine's a great answer. Costanza.
Right.
But Dom, if someone gave those answers today to us, it'd be hard for us not to choose them. So I want people to think outside the box.
Yes.
Don't give us one of the Seinfeld characters because, man,
the
there are
Joker
some
in the deck, right?
Yeah, there are some great supporting characters in Seinfeld.
Dwight Schrute. Can't do it.
Oh,
Take him off the board.
what a great one, too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So think of something where that character just really almost or does steal the show. Saul Goodman, I think, is a great example.
Great answer. Fantastic
All right, so
answer.
it's 855-839-1210. You get on board. Hey, by the way, remember, Joe Biden told us, I'll fire them on the spot, anybody that abuses staff. Big article out today about how much this guy browbeats, curses at people in the Oval Office constantly, outbursts, yelling, cursing, etc. I don't care if he does, but then stop it already with
Who, Biden does?
Biden, yeah. This guy is clearly, this whole family is low rent. That's what they are. They are a low rent family, up and down the line. 6 grandchildren. Oh my God.
He's like the Scrooge behind it.
Yeah. All right, so it's 855-839-1210. You get on board. At the end of your call, hit us with that. Bruce Castor here at 1230. Man, the media is not going to like this. Only Delaware Valley Journal is the only one that covered it. It's got a lawsuit, big civil lawsuit, 13-year-old victim wanting to know about the trans part of this whole story. Wait to hear the bigotry part come down, right? 855-839-1210.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Of course, all-time great one. Now, the Cheers Bar Dom Giordano program doesn't have what Mulligan's has, though. Its own in-house radio show, among others.
It's true.
And I don't remember great food like the dinners. They're particularly proud of the dinners. I mean, I
So
always
good,
talk
their
about the
food.
crab cake sandwich and all that, but it's the nighttime dinners that are second to none for a bar restaurant. So what a fabulous thing. We're thrilled. We'll be back there sometime probably in August. Working on the date. We'll let you know. People told me, oh, we planned, 3-day holiday around. That's exactly what we want to do. All right, that's our side question today. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy is onto something that's got people crazy. The left just can't understand this, and we got to get him back on to talk about it. I think it's 40,000 individual donors you need to be on that debate stage on August 23rd. His campaign said last week that he had about 65,000. Average donation was $30.80. Well, what he's done is he's come up with a program where if you raise money, for him, I don't know how they check on this and all. I've been trying to go through the small print here, but that's not the point. He says if you raise money for him, then you get 10% of that. In other words, a sales fee. He says a small oligarchy of political fundraisers is already making an ungodly amount of dollars on this election. It's disgusting. I'm breaking up the cartel. Today, we're launching the Vivek Kitchen Cabinet. Anyone can fundraise for my campaign and make 10%. Now, this has people on Twitter, idiots that don't understand capitalism or anything else, saying that this is a pyramid scheme. There's no pyramid scheme here. I mean, it's a sales fee. It's not like a pyramid scheme or anything like that. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out as far as fundraising. I'm not exactly sure how he knows you did that and you get credit for it, et cetera. But just the mere mention of this guy is really making a lot of noise. And it'll be interesting to see where he lands in the end. But what a brilliant idea. I couldn't support it more. And we'll give you more details when we happen to get it. All right, 855-839-1210 is how we get you on board. Dan, just let me know when you have that John Kerry in a minute. Okay. John Kerry, the French-sounding American, if that's what he is there with Biden, NATO, Europe, the Grand Tour of the United Kingdom, all the elites. And this guy says the quiet part out loud about what they're going to do to the world. You know, he's married. I'm not sure if he's still married to Teresa Heinz, who's the heir or is the principal, I guess, in the Heinz, all the ketchup and everything else. That's got to be billions and billions, right? Here's John Kerry telling us today with Biden, the rich, he actually says, are moving us already toward a green economy, and that's the way it's going to be. Here's John Kerry.
Full understanding here, particularly with the evidence of the last few weeks piling on, that when scientists are telling us that they are terrified by what they're seeing, and when we hear those same scientists telling us that we are in uncharted territory, this group has come together to try to figure out, okay, how do we deploy the funds necessary to invest to create the new clean energy economy. And I'm glad to say you recognize many of the people here, Your Majesty and Mr. President, you've been with them before. They represent literally trillions of dollars, either invested or assets under management or assets owned. And they are making decisions every single day about how to accelerate this transition.
Okay. Yeah. How about the rest of us? Are we willing in this or unwilling in this? You know we're unwilling in this. Guys like this creep, like John Kerry. You know what, buddy? Maybe you ought to learn how to eat a hoagie first and not put a cheesesteak on it or the other way
disgusting.
around.
Come on, man.
Yeah. This guy, right?
Cheesesteak hoagie.
Cheesesteak hoagie. Like anybody's going to stand there and eat that, even if you're
tomatoes
Philadelphia.
on your hoagie.
Yes.
On your cheesesteak.
Get it all over it. What kind of... All right, but this guy is, they are just enamored, people like this. Bill Gates is another one. Let's block off the sun. That's the ticket. This maniac. Can you imagine? They want maybe 20, 30, 40 people in the world to be running the world, all the so-called experts to tell the rest of us how to live. That's exactly what this is. They'll throw in a goofball celebrity like Leonardo DiCaprio and things of that nature, Biden as a figurehead. But he's telling you they're already moving toward this. Now, if they're doing it because they believe in it, they want to invest in something and we can take it or leave it, sure, fine. But that's not the way this stuff works. That's not what Kerry's there to do. It's about also dragooning people into this. That's what it's about. All right, 855-839-1210.
Eddie Munster comes off the board, by the way.
Yeah. It's okay, why don't you take that one off?
A supporting character, you know.
Okay.
John Kerry's voice there.
Well,
I guess more Herman Munster, right?
Yeah, I'm still working on Alex Soros now. Now we got two Soroses out there doing this. 20 visits to the White House, and almost every one of these I have in front of me are with these people that would significantly be involved in Ukraine. Doesn't surprise us, does it? What is their angle there, the Sororises? Well, that's where they're going, and they're visiting the White House to do it. By the way, I thought NBC News told us that the Secret Service would say today our investigation is complete, and we're not saying anything about the cocaine. And how dare we even joke about Hunter Biden? You know that you're joking about addiction? Give us a break. Get off it already. You can't ride that forever. You're a guy who's just a scoundrel, right? And I don't care about how this addiction deflection shield is put up.
Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
Yeah. By the way, over the weekend, we have a new star that gets the left going. Apparently, Casey DeSantis is now America's Karen. That's what they're calling her. I haven't seen her say
America's
that much
Karen.
that does this. I get it. They don't like it. She's an attractive woman with the kids, the whole thing. She's out there with the husband. But America's Karen.
Should be like an award show.
Yeah, I don't know
The Karen Awards.
exactly what she said exactly that's out there. And I'm determined today, Dan. Now, we had all those battlefield conditions the other day in Wildwood, but if this film is doing as well, I'm thrilled with it. I'm talking about Sound of Freedom. $40 million plus. It's a little over 40 million. It's approaching $41 million, and it's a low budget film. Tim Ballard, the human trafficking, and it's being savaged in ways that we haven't seen. The only thing second to that would be Moms for Liberty. So how were the Moms for Liberty attacked? Well, the Moms for Liberty were attacked by Media Matters because they did not like the cuisine. There's something about chicken breasts with risotto, broccoli, and freshly baked dinner rolls that set them off.
Wait, you have a whole article there about
Yes.
the food choices, the catering choices?
Yes, and they particularly said the only good thing was they even mentioned there was not enough chocolate on the strawberries when they came to the welcoming party. Those
hateful
mothers,
women.
If I had known that, you know what? I renounce them now. If you're not putting enough chocolate on the strawberries, that's
terrible.
it, ladies.
I know.
You're out. They're a threat to the country.
They need a whole write-up in the SPLC for that one.
Yeah, they do. Yes. By the way, that's a hate thing. They hate chocolate for some reason.
It's racist.
Or they like strawberries better.
So I like. There's so much about this article, Dom. How much was it? $249 for a 4-day event.
Yes.
And that's not including the hotel stay.
Right.
So all in all, George Soros and Media Matters had to spend probably over $1,000 on these two.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to send you for $1,000 to this conference, and all you're going to come back with me is a review of catering.
And the only thing they liked was some French pastry or something, and they said, but that fits because these ladies are saying let them eat cake. By the way, Marie Antoinette did not say that. I mean, I've always said that she said it. It makes for a better story. But my God, these mothers, you got to love it. They're living rent free. They set these people off to a level that's just amazing.
It really plays into what we were saying, though. What are they going to come armed with, like Swiffers and
yes.
yoga mats? And that's pretty much what happened, because they couldn't find anything else to write about. Media Matters, who went there on a mission to try to find something to exploit and make a national story about. And the best thing they could come back with is a review about catering,
including not enough chocolate on the strawberries. I'm sure that they measured each one out. All right, the great attorney Bruce Castor. I mean, we've talked with him about so many things. Is with us next. He has a client in a civil case out of the mass shooting in Southwest Philadelphia with quite an angle. He's next here with Dom on Talk Radio 1210. Our good friend John Gilgy, though, of Rhino Shield, reached out with a special offer for listeners. Book now and get 20% off your job. So if you've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to beautify your home with a permanent solution to paint, this is it. Rhino Shield looks like paint, goes on like paint, never chips, cracks, or fades. It's ceramic coating. It's guaranteed for life. You never have to paint again. I'm impressed with both the product and the company. Perfect for any surface. You get the beauty of fresh paint with the maintenance of vinyl. Even insulate your home. Think about it. Project your home. As important as that. You want to work with someone you can trust? That's John Gilgy. I recommend him, the local owner of Rhino Shield. Meets with you himself. Fully explains the process. He's helped many of my listeners, just like you, upgrade the look and quality of their home. Call John now. Take advantage of this 20% offer just for my listeners. Visit myrhinoshield.com or 844-RHINO-99. 844-RHINO-99. All right, it's always a good time to catch up with super attorney Bruce Castor from Twitter. Dan, I was telling you during the break, though, this issue mainly with the shooter, transvestite, last week. Asa Khalif, who I'm friendly with, as you know, in a strange kind of way. We go back and forth, but friendly. Must be listening. And on Twitter, you tell Bruce Castor it has nothing to do with it. We've already cleared that up. All right, let's go to Bruce Castor. He's told here. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the program. I was just thinking this morning before you reached out to me about those times when we used to do it in the studio and in chairs, remember?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Years ago.
Well, anytime that you're downtown, we're happy to see you and have you here. And Bruce, I was just looking through the Delaware Valley Journal because, as you know, the media immediately put the clampers on this whole thing with this shooter. No mention of that. Wouldn't even show the pictures, at least dressed up in women's clothing. So tell us what you're doing, who your client is, and what's up with it.
Well, my client is the 13-year-old boy who was shot in the lower legs. He's going to need some operations, and it's going to be quite a ways to recover. His father retained me, gosh, really right either the next day or that day, because I like to do a lot of cases where I represent victims of crime, so I can interact with the prosecutors and the police and talk the lingo that I used to do years ago, and I didn't know anything about the angle because, as you said, it was all shut down about the transsexual issue until the boy's father brought it up to me and started showing me pictures, and my mind immediately went to what effect does a transitioning from male to female have on a person's mental health? Because the information that I was receiving was that the police were under the initial impression that the shooter, the killer, was came prepared for a fight with vest and semi-automatic weapons and so forth, and was ready to go. It wasn't sort of a random thing, but that our client seems to be a random victim, and that those sorts of things are not they don't follow. There's no retaliating against bullies. There's no shooting somebody because they took your girlfriend or you got a bad grade or something, because our client was just happened to be there, and the information that the police gave us is that the shooter went to some effort to try to shoot our client, who rolled under a car, and then his friend who was with him to get a soda at the corner store was injured, and he went over and shot him while he was laying there. And yet these boys apparently had no connection with the killer. So you wonder what's going on in that guy's mind. So now you look for what's unusual about this shooter, as opposed to somebody who has an overt motive. And when I saw the pictures of the alleged assailant in not only in drag but having evidently grown breasts, I was beginning to think, I wonder what chemicals were put into his body that might have affected his ability to think clearly. And so I'm pursuing that angle as we speak.
What have you learned, Bruce, if anything else around that? Again, I'm glad the dad told you that. We saw that instantly through various sources. And then the media, rather than, prudently pursuing this, just wants to drop it and just wants to make this a gun case.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, I spent how many decades doing homicide work. People are not generally naturally killers. They usually go and plan killings for a reason. And if there is no overt reason, you begin to look for a psychiatric reason. And we've all heard of many cases where the defense pleads insanity or mental infirmity because of some mental health diagnosis. So how is that any different than how somebody's brain might react when their hormones are changed and when certain drugs are given to them to change their biology? And I know that it's not PC to talk about such things, but you have to look at the way historically people commit murders. They don't do that without some reason, whether it be one that's easy to understand, or it's a robbery or a burglary or whatnot, or one that God told me to do it, or if I didn't do this, the world was going to end, or something like that, which are psychiatric problems, or somebody who's hopped up on some kind of medication. Nobody would say a thing if the preliminary toxicology screen showed that he was lit up on angel dust, PCP, and whatever else the new in vogue drugs are, and or ketamine, or any of these things that make you act wacky. No one would turn a blind eye and say, well, that couldn't have had anything to do with it. So how is this any different? Well, it's because the woke mentality in this nation is that anything that suggests that transgenderism is subject to the same possible negative forces as any other change in lifestyle or any other ingestion of medication or any other outside influence on a person than in any other case. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. So, if it turns out that the scientists say you're supposed to counsel these people, you're supposed to give them certain tests, you're supposed to monitor their progress, you're supposed to make sure that they don't take too much or too little of whatever it is that's causing the transition. If somebody didn't do that, or the killer reported that he was having suicidal thoughts, then maybe there's somebody that needs to be held accountable. You remember that? Remember some years ago there's that great drug for people who have a terrible time with acne. I think it's called acetone or acetate or something like that. I forget what it's called. It has some special name, and a very small number of cases of people committed suicide on it, and there were hearings in Congress about it, and it turns out that these people were telling their doctors, I'm having suicidal thoughts, and I never had them before, and the doctors were still continuing to prescribe this medication. Now, it's a very small number, but anytime you go to the pharmacy and you get a drug, it comes with all these warnings and stuff. Some of those things the patient could experience, and the doctors need to tell them. And how is this any different than all those other things? Well, because politics and wokeness has gotten in the way.
So what have you experienced since this has come out big time, that Bruce Castor pursuing this in this case? The only place I saw it was the Delaware Valley Journal. You would think it would make other news, Bruce, because given your track record of success and being a mainstream figure, you would think people would want to report on that, at least ask you about it, even if they were, jousted with you a bit.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit interesting. Now, the reporter for the Delaware Valley Journal, Linda Stein, is an old Montgomery County reporter, and you notice she talked to Bill McSwain and she talked with Joe Maggetting, obviously heavyweights in the prosecution field, and she thought she was calling me as one of those guys, and was surprised when I was actually involved in the case. So she kind of got me by accident. And then I think she didn't print it until right before the weekend or right after the weekend. So we'll see if anybody calls me. But I am a little bit surprised about that. I mean, I try to look at things from a practical perspective, and if this suspect has ingested substances to change his gender, what do those substances do to your mental health, and what warnings and monitoring were given him?
Absolutely. Well, Bruce, please keep us in the loop. It's always great to talk with you. And if you're around the next time we talk, we'd love to see you in person.
Absolutely. I remember those days. What was it? We were in the studio and we were on TV, right? Was it?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was fun. I remember those sessions were fun, like on the weekend.
Well, they always are. So, Bruce, we will make that happen soon.
Okay. Nice talking to you, Dom.
Thank you, Bruce. All right. Bruce Castor, Dan. It's just great to have such a resource there. Now, why is that not out there? Well, Dan, maybe our sourcing, our methodology, et cetera, is a little bit better than the Philadelphia Inquirer. At least we're open to it. Now, we don't know that that's the case with this guy, but you notice how that angle was shut down instantly. And Asa Khalif, I'm also friendly with, is billed as an advisor to Larry Krasner. Actually has an article up at the Daily Beast shutting that down. We'll see. We'll see what Bruce Castor is able to ascertain from this. And if it does turn out to be that, it would be another example of the media just not wanting to explore. They don't like the narrative. Notice how this case, after they've exhausted the narrative of guns, more gun control, Krasner, Kenny, they've moved on. All right, we got a great side question. Let me take one person in here. Let's go to Carol in Bucks County. Give us that character, the passing of Paulie Walnuts, that is such a great supporting, almost can overwhelm the lead character. Carol, good afternoon. What do you have, Carol?
I have Ed Norton to Ralph Cramden.
Yeah, Ed Norton certainly is a very short period of time for the Honeymooners, but Ed Norton, just a great irritant playing off Jackie Gleason, one of the all-time supporting characters, without a doubt. All right. You could have one from film, too. I can think of a couple from film, but mainly TV. And Paulie Walnuts, probably The Sopranos is in the top 5 or 10 with great supporting characters. And that's how you get to be a top series. If you don't have 2 or 3 great supporting characters, pretty hard for one character to carry it. Hit us with that, 855-839-1210. Samantha, Sam was at Plymouth meeting. Hey, Sam, it was a pleasure to meet you and your husband. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my gosh, ditto. Big ditto. It was a real honor. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at 12.
Hey, by the way, let me know now. I know what Tommy McDonald was doing. What was Dan doing during all that chaos? Can you give me a report to tell me? Was he sidling up to the bar and having an extra cocktail there? What was he doing,
down
Sam?
a couple shots.
Yeah, was he throwing down shots?
He was a huge supporting character.
There you go. There you go. I like how you brought that together. Well, it was a great time there. The outage just made it a day to remember. Who's your character?
Yeah.
Who's your character, Sam?
Danny DeVito's character, and It's Always Sunny, Frank Reynolds.
That's a great one.
I love it.
Very nice, Sam. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Sam.
What a listen. My God. Right there to the end.
Yeah, she was right next to the table, her and her husband.
Yes.
Just really sweet couple.
And then there were from, somewhat from Rose's side of the family and somewhat the great folks that we rent from were there in the Borowski. That, I have to tell Johnny Z, we need to have a Borowski box there. It's like a VIP box in the corner of Mulligan's.
It's a penalty box whenever someone gets too drunk or out of hand. They go in the Borowski box.
The Borowski box. They were in that box, and it was tremendous. So what a day. Okay. Keep them coming, just like Sam's. That's what we're looking for. 855-839-1210. That great supporting character. Dan, I won't take it. Well, somebody called in with a great supporting character from The Wire. But you know what? As much as I think this is one of the all-time characters, don't you think the supporting character has to have longevity? In other words, if they're there for just a few episodes, it kind of makes it a little bit more difficult.
Are you talking the one that's there throughout the entire series?
He's not there throughout the entire series. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, you think I won't say it then.
He comes in, I think the end of, he's actually, I think the first scene. And then he's
yeah, that's right. Well, maybe I'm glad I didn't take it off.
And I think he's like, at least halfway through that final season.
Oh, is it that much?
Yeah,
doesn't
the
appear
last
necessary,
but the newsroom, right?
Several episodes center around him.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when they decide to go with a fire versus something about him, it says it all. It's just one of the top.
I think that guy might be a top.
Oh, he's the top character of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think he qualifies
Yeah,
enough?
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sound of Freedom, the trashing by liberal outlets and film critics. It's QAnons, I tell you. That's why these people are all going to see it. If you've seen Sound of Freedom, give us your review. 855-839-1210. That's how you get on board. Hey, let's talk about my friend and board-certified prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Group in East Norriton. Now, I always enjoy talking to his staff and patients, but really, the thing they all tell me, problem solver, extraordinaire. So much so, one of the biggest things about Dr. Bentz, other dentists refer their tougher cases to him. Whatever your issues are, Dr. Bentz is going to develop that custom plan with your input for your overall oral health and give you the smile you've always dreamed of. If you're afraid of going to the dentist, or maybe it's a family member, fear, anxiety, maybe even years, Dr. Bentz offers sedation dentistry to make your visit a pleasant experience. Don't put off a nagging minor problem. He always tells that to me. Take care of it now before it gets worse. From routine care to dental implants, that on-site digital lab, the great staff, it's all there with Dr. Robert Bentz. Get the oral care you need and deserve and that beautiful smile you've always wanted. Just visit bentzdentalgroup.com, B-E-N-T-Z, dentalgroup.com, and book that appointment today. Or call 610-272-6949. Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in. Coming up, somebody we had scheduled, booked for Friday, but due to all the things going on, but we're thrilled to bring you a young star debater who's blown the whistle on the fact that you will, no matter how good you are at debating, you'll lose, maybe even be kicked out if you take certain positions, including, it seems, Dan, even referencing President Trump, or in the minds of some, former President Trump. All right. So she'll be with us next. And this became apparent a couple weeks ago. Imagine now these national debate groups with kids, supposedly teaching them the art of ideation, personality, persuasion, all that. Dan, you never were on a debate team, did you? No.
Yeah. Do I look like I'd be on a debate team?
Well, they wanted me to do it at Newman, but I thought at the time that it was the same thing as running 110-meter high hurdles.
I don't know if there's anybody ever been a Polish person on a debate team.
That's okay. There you go.
That's coming from
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. That's my opening in a debate. On our side, yes. All right, she's next. We'll take your calls. Got a lot of good ones. Hit us with that all-time supporting character. Think of a character that shines. With some shows, it's very, very difficult. That's what we're looking for on Talk Radio 1210.